Hi everyone, or welcome back to Fussy Botany. In this episode, let us talk about the minor cereals. The minor cereals are a diverse group of staple crops that have been cultivated for thousands of years, particularly in the arid and semi-arid regions. While major cereals like wheat, rice, and maize dominate the global agriculture today, the minor cereals such as sorghum, millets, barley, and rye hold a unique and vital place in our food systems. Their resilience and adaptability to the challenging environments like drought, low fertility soils, and extreme temperatures make them invaluable for ensuring food security and sustainability, especially in the changing climate. These grains are foundational to the diets and livelihoods of millions of people around the world. The minor cereals are the nutritional powerhouses. They are packed with essential vitamins, minerals, and dietary fiber, and many are naturally gluten free, offering a healthy alternative for growing population. Their cultivation is often a part of low input farming systems, which reduces the need for synthetic fertilizers and pesticides, benefiting both the environment and human health. This video will explore the remarkable ecological and physiological features, highlighting how they are key to a more sustainable and nutritional future. Barley, that is the Hordeum vulgare, is a significant cereal grain with a long history of cultivation. It is the fourth largest cereal crop in the world by quantity produced, after maize, rice, and wheat. The primary center of origin of barley took place in Fertile Crescent, a region in the Middle East that includes parts of modern day Iraq, Israel, Jordan, Syria, and Turkey. Archaeological evidence indicates that barley was domesticated around 10,000 years ago during pre-pottery Neolithic period. The wild ancestor of the cultivated barley is a species known as Hordeum spontaneum. This wild relative is still found today in its native habitat across the Fertile Crescent. The transition from the wild domesticated barley involves the several significant changes which were likely selected for the early farmers. In wild barley, the rachis is brittle and breaks apart easily when the grain is ripe, allowing the seeds to disperse naturally. The domesticated barley has a non-brittle rachis which keeps the grains attached to the stalk, making it much easier for the humans to harvest the entire head. Over time, the selective breeding led to the larger and more numerous grains which increased the yield of the crop. The wild barley has a tough hull that protects the grain, while the hulled varieties are still common today. Some domesticated farms developed a naked or hullless trait, which makes a grain easier to process and consume. The genetic analysis indicates a second independent domestication event may have occurred further east, possibly in the Tibetan Plateau region. This second origin likely contributed to the diversity of barley varieties found in the Central Asia and the Far East. The barley is a highly adaptable and globally significant cereal grain with a wide range of ecological and physiological features. The barley is a cool season annual that thrives in temperate climates. It has a shorter growing season, allowing it to mature more quickly and make it suitable for the regions with a short summers or high altitudes. Barley is known for its relatively high drought tolerance. Its extensive and fibrous root system allows it to efficiently absorb water and nutrients from the soil. Barley is the most salt tolerant cereal crop. This makes it a crucial crop for agriculture in semi arid and arid regions where the soil salinity is a major issue. While barley prefers a well drained loamy soils, it is more tolerant of wide range of soil conditions, including saline and alkaline soils. The C3 photosynthetic pathway is highly efficient in cool, moist, and well lit environments. The deep and dense fibrous root system can penetrate the soil to the significant depths, enabling it to access moisture and nutrients. The barley plants can produce multiple stems, that is, tillers. This trait allows the plant to adjust its density and yield in response to environmental conditions. Avena sativa, commonly called as the oat, has a complex and somewhat uncertain history of origin and domestication, distinct from the major cereals like wheat and the wild ancestor of Avena sativa is Avena sterilis, which is believed to have originated in the Fertile Crescent of the Near East. Oats were not initially cultivated on a purpose. They are considered as the secondary crop. They emerged as a weed in the fields of other primary cereals like wheat and barley. Oats were domesticated much later than wheat and barley. While the oat seeds have been found in 4,000-year-old remains in Egypt, these were likely from the wheats. As the cultivation of the wheat and barley moved into cooler and wetter climates in the central and northern Europe, oats proved to be better adapted to these conditions. This is where they transitioned from the persistent wheat to a domesticated crop. The most significant change during the domestication was the loss of the natural seed dispersal mechanism. While the oats release their grains upon maturation, domesticated oats, however, retain their mature grains on the plant until harvest, a critical trait for the human cultivation. Oats are a widely cultivated cereal grain with a distinct ecological and physiological features that enable them to thrive in temperate climates. They are best suited for the cold temperate regions with a moderate to high rainfall. They have a greater water requirement than most other small grain cereals. The plants have a reputation for performing well on infertile, sandy, and acidic soils. They are also more tolerant of wet, poorly drained soils. Oats are often effective at suppressing weeds due to their rapid germination and vigorous growth, which allows them to quickly outcompete competing plants. They can also exhibit an allelopathic effect, where they release a compound that inhibit the growth of some weed species. This makes them a valuable cover crop. As a cover crop, oats help to prevent soil erosion, improve soil organic matter, and even winter killed can create a nitrogen-rich mulch for subsequent crops. The C3 photosynthesis, that is, they use the C3 photosynthetic pathway, which is less efficient than the C4 in hot, dry conditions but more efficient in cool, moist environments. Oats are known for their ability to withstand cold temperatures. They undergo cold acclimation, a process that involves metabolic changes like the accumulation of sugars and other cryptoprotectant compounds to protect the cells from freezing and damage. Oats have a well-developed fibrous root system that can efficiently absorb water and nutrients from the soil. While susceptible to certain diseases like the rust and anthracnose, modern oats varieties have been bred for resistance, making them a relatively low maintenance crop. Sorghum bicolor, commonly called as the sorghum, is an important cereal crop, has a fascinating history of origin and domestication, distinct from many other major grains. Sorghum originated in Africa, especially in the northeastern part of the continent. Archaeological and genetic evidence points to a primary center of origin in eastern Sudan and the surrounding areas, including Ethiopia. The domesticated sorghum we know today is believed to have been derived from its wild ancestor, that is, sorghum bicolor subspecies verticilliforum. This wild species is widely distributed across Africa. Before its full domestication, there is evidence that hunter-gatherers in the Sahara were utilizing wild sorghum as a source of food. The domestication of sorghum was a gradual process involving selection of specific desirable traits. The most crucial change was the selection for the sorghum with a non-shattering panicle. In the wild, the mature seeds or spikelets really break off from the plant, that is shattered to disperse, which is an efficient survival mechanism. However, for early farmers, this made harvesting difficult. By selecting plants where the seeds remain attached to the panicle, humans made the crop suitable for harvesting. Over time, human selection led to a larger grains and more of them were panicles, increased the yield. The long, sharp awns on the wild grains were likely reduced or eliminated through selection, making the grain easier to process for human consumption. Wild sorghum seeds often have dormancy mechanism that prevent all the seeds from germinating at the same time. Farmers selected for the plant that lacked this trait, ensuring a more uniform and predictable crop. Domesticated sorghum panicles became denser and more compact compared to the loose open panicles of their wild ancestors. After its initial domestication in northeastern Africa, sorghum diversified into different cultivated races, from where it was dispersed across Africa and eventually to the other parts of the world, including India and later to East Asia and Middle East and eventually to America. This wide distribution led to further adaptation and diversification, creating five main domesticated races of sorghum we see today: bicolor, Guinea, Hordeum, Kafir, and Jura. Sorghum bicolor is a highly adaptable and resilient C4 grass, making it a crucial crop, particularly in arid and semi-arid regions. Its ecological and physiological features allow it to thrive in the conditions where other major cereals like maize and wheat would struggle. The sorghum is well suited for the tropical and subtropical climates and is known for its tolerance to a variety of harsh environmental conditions. Drought tolerance is one of the sorghum's most notable ecological features. It is often referred to as water sipping crop due to its high water use efficiency. Sorghum can grow in a wide range of soil types, including heavy clay, sandy soils, and poor soils where the other crops might fail. It is also more tolerant of alkaline soils. Sorghum is an effective competitor against the weeds. It has been shown to actively suppress the weeds by producing allelochemicals that inhibit the weed growth. The sorghum is a C4 plant. This metabolic pathway concentrates carbon dioxide, minimizing the water loss through stomata and allowing for the higher rate of photosynthesis under high temperature conditions. This is a primary reason for its drought tolerance. Sorghum has multiple physiological adaptations to withstand drought and heat stress. This includes stay green trait. Some varieties maintain green leaves and continue to photosynthesize even under drought conditions. Limited transpiration. Certain genotypes can partially or completely close the stomata in response to high temperature and low humidity. Sorghum is moderately tolerant to saline conditions, performing better than maize but not as well as barley in the salt affected soils. Millets are a group of small seeded gluten-free grasses that are incredibly important as staple foods in many parts of Asia and Africa, often referred to as nutri-cereals due to their high nutritional content. There are numerous varieties of millets, each with a unique characteristic and use. The most common types include pearl millet, finger millet, foxtail millet, proso millet, barnyard millet, and little millet. Please visit this video link given here for a detailed information on millets. Secale cereal, that is the rye, has a unique and somewhat contested history of origin and domestication, which distinguishes it from other major cereals like wheat and barley. Instead of being a primary domesticated crop, it is considered as a secondary domesticated that evolved from a weed. Generally accepted center of origin for the wild rye is in the Near East, especially in the area around present-day eastern Turkey and Euphrates River Valley in northern Syria. Unlike wheat and barley, which were intentionally cultivated from the wild ancestors in the Fertile Crescent, Rye initially spread as a weed in the fields of these primary crops. As farming practices expanded north and west into the colder and more marginal climates, rye proved to be a more resilient. Its ability to tolerate harsh winters, poor soils, and wide range of growing conditions gave it a competitive advantage over wheat and barley in these regions. The secondary domestication of the rye was a gradual and likely unintentional process. As the farmers in the Central Eastern Europe harvested their wheat and barley, the rye weeds that survived and thrived in the unfavorable conditions were also collected. Over time, through unconscious selection, farmers gradually favored rye plants with traits desirable for cultivation such as non-shattering seeds, heads, and larger seeds. While traces of the domesticated rye have been found in Neolithic sites in Anatolia around 6600 BCE, it did not become a significant staple crop until the Bronze Age in Central Europe. Its prominence as a major cereal truly took off during the Middle Ages in the northern and eastern Europe, becoming the primary grain for bread in countries like Germany, Poland, and Russia. Over time, farmers in these areas, particularly in Central and Eastern Europe, realized that the rye performed better than wheat in their less than ideal climate. This recognition led to its eventual domestication and widespread cultivation in its own right, established it as a key staple food in what is now known as the rye belt of Europe, which includes countries like Germany, Poland, Russia, and Nordic countries. Triticale is a genus name which is the combination of the genus names of its parent plant, that is Triticum, and Secale, that is rye. Triticale or Triticale is a hybrid grain created by crossing wheat with rye. It was bred to combine the high yield potential and grain quality of wheat with the hardiness, disease resistance, and adaptability of rye. It exhibits a hybrid vigor combining desirable traits from both the parents. It is often more resistant to the diseases like rust and mildew and can tolerate a wider range of soil types and environmental conditions, including acidic, nutrient poor, or waterlogged soils. The plant looks similar to wheat, but its kernels are typically longer and plumper than wheat seeds, with a color that can range from the tan of wheat to the gray brown of rye. Triticale is a valuable nutrient-rich grain. It has a high protein content, often higher than wheat. It also good source of minerals like manganese, phosphorus, and magnesium, as well as B group vitamins. It is a low input hardy crop that can out-yield its parent crops in certain marginal conditions, such as acidic or low nutrient soils and the areas with the cool, high rainfall. It has an aggressive root system that helps with the soil binding and erosion control. By providing more than half of the calories consumed by the global population, the cereal grains are the ultimate staple food. Their high carbohydrate content and long storage life make them ideal crop to sustain a growing world. Cereal farming is a cornerstone of the global economy, driving international trade and supporting countless livelihoods. The development of the advanced agricultural technologies, from mechanized combine harvesters to genetically modified crops, has been largely centered on improving the yield and resilience of these vital grains. As the global population is projected to reach nearly 10 billion by 2050, the demand for the cereals will continue to rise. This presents a challenge that requires continued innovation in crop science, sustainable farming practice, and resource management. Breeding new varieties that are more drought tolerant, disease resistant, and nutrient dense will be crucial to ensuring that every person has an access to a reliable and nutritious food supply. In essence, the story of cereal crops is the story of human civilization. They have allowed to build stable societies, and they will be central to our ability to feed the world in the decades to come. Thank you for listening. See you in the next episode with a new topic. Until then, goodbye.